Alright, so since my previous video was very well received, I've decided to keep going. And what I had in mind now was to go through the leader key bindings that Spacemacs offers. And this is pretty much the main feature of Spacemacs, is the wealth of key bindings you find here under space. There's a hierarchical setup, basically, um, where you'll find really a lot of different things. And since there's a lot, then very few people really know everything. Neither do I, so this was going to be useful for both of us, you and me. We're probably going to find a lot of cool things. We're probably going to find a few bugs, and we're probably going to find a few key bindings where I really have no idea what I'm doing, and we'll get to try out some kind of live feature adventure hunt or something like that. I should note that there's a lot of stuff here, so there's a fair chance that I won't be able to cover all this in one video. My previous one ran about an hour, so I'm going to try to cover. Going to try to aim for roughly 45 minutes to 1 hour per video. Um, I have increased the font size a little bit so that it's easier for you to see. Um, Apparently, I can't render in 1080p, so 720 will do, and I hope this is going to be visible for you guys. Um, I have my dot file here on the right, and I have a new org file on the left where I will try to take notes, and maybe we can learn a little bit of org in the meantime. So, uh, to begin with, I'm going to do all of the key bindings that are not attached to letters, starting here with space, which is AVI word. So what that does is it lets you. So let me try here. Space. It will query for a character. Sorry, my throat is a bit dry. It'll query for a character, and if you type one, say R, it'll highlight all R's that are at the beginning of a word, and you can skip to that R by typing the letter that's written down. So if you want to go here, you can type F, and if you want to go there, you can type A, and so on. If you set AVI all windows to all frames, then you can skip across windows and across buffers and across frames using this method, which I really recommend this setting. So let's just put that down here. Space, AVI, uh, AVI word, or let's say jump to word. Great. Space tab goes to the previous buffer in that window. And this is, let me see here, let me open some other, like this one for example. So if I now go to the left window and space tab, you'll see it doesn't go to this buffer because this space tab binding is window specific. It goes to the last buffer that was visible in that window, to the extent that it's possible. So let me just put that down. Tab, previous buffer, visible in window. Space exclamation point allows you to run a shell command. This is pretty simple and self-explanatory. The output opens in a separate buffer called shell command output, which I assume I can close with CG. Yep. But even if you do close it, it's still openable here in your buffer list. And I guess if I run another, it'll overwrite. Yeah, exactly. So you only get one buffer. Great. Run shell command. Space asterisk and forward slash. I should point those out at the same time. So if I go here to the Spacemacs project, I can search throughout the whole project using space /. And I can type something called configuration layer, which is a very common word in the Spacemacs source code, and you'll find all occurrences of that. You can also use space asterisk, and then you'll see that the prompt here is preoccupied with whatever was the symbol that my cursor was on at the time. So this basically mirrors how / and asterisk works in Vim. So let me do this search in project. So what else do we have here? Any number 0 through 9 will jump to a window. So you see here you have your window number. So every window is numbered, and you can press space 2 to go there. You can press space 3 to go there, and so on. Usually I just use 2 windows, so I use left and right movements instead to skip between them. Because having 3 really throws me off. In the rare cases where I have 3 windows, using these numbers really throw me off. So I like to keep it with 2, and to use left and right movements instead. But anyway, the numbers are there if you want them. Jump to window. Space colon, that's your usual way to get to the meta X menu, which is Emacs equivalent for X commands, basically. Here's a list of every single interactive command you can run. Now, typically a Helm will just list 100 for you, so you have to type some letters here to get more. But yeah, this is really convenient for running those rare commands that you don't have bound to a key. So let me type that down here: run mx space semicolon. That's the comment operator. So it's used for commenting out the text objects or regions. So if you do this space semicolon, it comments out, and I can also do space semicolon AP to toggle commenting a paragraph, or space semicolon II to toggle an indent text object or whatever. So that's come quite handy. Comment operator. Okay. Show key bindings. So this is called which key. This window here. It guides you through the key bindings using this window as a hint, but you can also do question mark to pop up a Helm buffer for with all the key bindings where you can search. Project search, and here you see asterisks and /, for example. That is quite handy. Helm session with key bindings. Avi pop mark on space backtick. I'm not sure what that does. Mark popped. Okay, so if I do, yeah, so it's something about going back to where you were. So let me try to F like that, and if I go back, yeah. So that's a function for skipping backwards after you've been using Avi. But I wonder if if this doesn't work with Evil Jumper as well. So let me try like that, and like that, and then Control O. Oh, that was Shift O. Shit. Okay, let me Control O, Control O. So yeah, Control O also brings you back, and I reckon that Control O is a little bit more general. So you might want to consider using that. So let's say backtick, skip backwards in AVI jump list. Consider using CO instead. Um, let's see what else we find. Yeah, so that's letters, and let's see here. We have F1 here. So usually you can search through variables with space HDV. You can search through functions with space HDF, and so on. Space F1 brings you up a Helm buffer with all kinds of things at the same time. So you have here a source for commands, you have a source for functions. By the way, I'm using Control O to skip between sources here in the Helm session. This is nice if you have a Helm session with several sources. Often you'll only have one source, but sometimes you have several. So you have commands that are that's whatever you find in MX or space colon. You have functions, which is whatever you find in space HDF. Classes, um, generic functions, variables, phases, Helm attributes, and you're back to commands. So there's a lot of different things there that aren't entirely familiar to me, but I'm sure that's handy. And one thing about space F1 is that this search is fuzzy. So I can write something like compver to get company version. But if I do space HDF, I don't get it because this one is not fuzzy, but space F1 is. So fuzzy search among things, basically. Emacs things. So that is all the non-letter prefixes. So now we can start our ABCs. Let me see here. A is for applications. Let me do a lowercase a, applications. So all the key bindings in Spacemacs are mnemonic, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I'm talking about this word. So you can usually figure out what it stands for from the first letter, and A is for applications. So let's go in there and see what we can find. Space AC calculator. This is a really impressive application in Spacemacs, and you may you may not have tried it, but I'm going to show you a few things you can do here. Um, so if you press space HC, it will query for an option here. Calc, keypad, quick, embed, exit, info, tutorial, grab. Yeah, I don't even know. Question mark for more. Yeah. So let's try a few here. Um, C for calculator. So that brings you the calculator. And you'll notice here your mode line is blue, so you're in Emacs state. So don't try any Vim key bindings here. Now this calculator is a reverse Polish notation calculator, so it operates with a stack. So you might not be very familiar with how this works if you haven't used one before. It takes a little bit getting used to. So for example, I can do 16, push it on the stack, 75, push that on the stack, and then I press plus to add the last two items on the stack. That brings me to 91. And then I can do 89, push that on the stack, and do asterisk for multiplication. 91 times 89, that's 8099. So that should be equal to 90 squared minus 1. So let's check that out. I push 90, I push 2, and I push the caret. I hope this works. Yep. And then 1 and minus, and that brings me to 80 or 8099. So that's the right answer. So this shows you basically how this works. Um, I'm not gonna go through all the features here because this calculator really supports a lot. It supports symbolic mathematics, arbitrary precision, matrix algebra, you name it, you can do it. Um, Let me just press Q to exit here. Although I will show you that you can do space HCQ for a quick calc, and this one does support infix notation instead of prefix. And I believe also in here you can do infix notation if you just type. Yeah, exactly. So if you type apostrophe, it will ask for something here that you can type in infix. So exactly. So that's one way to get in infixed expressions in this calculator. Really cool if you sometimes find yourself needing to punch some numbers. I'm one of those. I work in mathematics, so sometimes I need to run some numbers, and this is really handy to pop up. All right, let me see here. Uh, there we go. C calculator. What else do we have under here? We have deer. If you have enabled the ranger layer, the space AD binding will bring you to deer, which is a really nice directory tree here. Although I should note that if you don't have the ranger layer enabled, you'll just get Dired, which is the basic default Emacs file tree navigator. But I like Ranger, so let me put that down here. File tree navigator. I showed you how this works in my previous video. It has Vim key bindings. You can use H to go up. You can use L to drop into a folder. Let me see here. Pictures, chess, and so on. You can use Y to copy, P to paste files, D to delete, and so on. So it's basically just Vim key bindings, and that's really nice. Space AR. This is the full Ranger application, and it works pretty much the same. It shows you a preview of your file here, and it shows you a number of parent folders here. You can add more if you like, or you can turn off the preview, or you can make the preview show using syntax highlighting or whatever. So this is a really nice app. So the Ranger layer comes with Deer and Ranger. Deer more like Dired, and Ranger a little bit more awesome. So what else do we find here? Space A E, capital E. That's the emoji cheat sheet. So I can look here for Santa Claus. There you are. Enter, and it'll insert. Okay. So it inserts it into the kill ring. So if I do, yeah, copy to kill ring. If I then go here and paste, yeah, I get a Santa Claus here. You will need the emoji layer for this, and you also won't be able to see the emojis in a buffer unless you have this mode here. Oh, that's not the mode I was thinking of. Let me see here. Describe mode. Emoji. Yeah, emoji cheat sheet plus display. This is the mode I'm thinking of that lets you you view emojis in a buffer. Let me see here. Emoji. Yeah, I've added it to ERC, but I guess it goes into org by default, so that's why I have it. Uh, anyway, cute little binding if you like that kind of thing. space A G for games. There are a couple of games that come with the Spacemacs. I think you need a layer for this. Yep, there we go, games. So if you have that layer, you will get those games here. You can play Tetris, Pac-Max, which is Pac-Man, I suppose, and 2048, which is my personal time waster. So let me put that down. G for games. Space A I. Yeah, this is IRC. So there are two IRC layers in Spacemacs. It's ERC, which is the one I recommend, and there's also RC. But the ERC is a lot more powerful, so you should use that if you can. Um, Most of the key bindings under here are personal. I use custom key bindings to connect to certain servers. But there are also E for ERC and capital E for secure IRC, Q for quitting, and so on. So yeah, um, IRC goes there. You'll get similar key bindings if you enable the RC IRC layer. So let's see here. Space A M for music. As far as I know, at the moment we only have Spotify layer that makes use of this key binding. So space A for applications, M for music, S for Spotify, and that brings you these Spotify key bindings. I haven't used these a lot. The actual Spotify client is a lot more powerful, obviously. But there is G here for searching through music with Helm. There is N and capital N for next and previous song. P for playing and pausing, and capital Q for quitting. So I'm just going to write down here M music Spotify. And yeah, as I said, you need a layer for this. I believe Spotify. Yeah, exactly. You need this layer here. Okay, space A O. This is for org. So all of the org bindings, such as launching the agenda or capture or store link or whatever, they are under here. All the org bindings that are sort of recommended to bind globally and not just in an org buffer, you will find under space AO. I'm not gonna go into detail for those at the moment. If you use org, you'll know what you find there. And these key bindings will not be available unless you have the org layer enabled. All right, space A P proced. All right, so this is a list of processes. So this is basically like top, I guess. Here you can see what I'm running on my computer. I hope I'm not running anything embarrassing. I believe typically you'll find that this buffer is not evilified, so evil key bindings won't work there. But I have evilified it myself. Here's the code. So yeah, that should probably go in Spacemacs, I guess. But for now, you can do it yourself or make a pull request. I hereby grant you the I hereby grant you permission to make a pull request to Spacemacs with this code if you like it. So let me see space AP. Are there any bindings here? Question mark for help. Mark. Oh, I can mark with M, unmark with U. I can kill with K. Question mark for more help. Mark children. Okay, this is pretty powerful. So You won't need to skip into a terminal to run PS anymore, I guess. Alright, well, whatever. P for processes. Space A capital P. That's paradox list packages. Would you like to set up GitHub integration? No. Okay, so now it's contacting all of this. Wrong type argument. Space A capital P. Wrong type argument. Alright. I don't know what that's about. I I did manage to use this yesterday, so I guess there's some debugging there to do, but it will do something similar. Okay, I get a wrong type argument there too. Okay, whatever. So there's a bug. I don't know what, but it does list. It lists available packages, lets you upgrade them, lets you delete them, install them, whatever. Typically, I would recommend that you use Spacemacs facilities to do this, but it's a nice way to find packages at least, and I believe that one as well you need to evilify. But unfortunately, something is preventing me from showing that to you at the moment. So yeah, so package list basically. Okay, space A R I showed you S. So if you add the shell layer right there, you will get key bindings under space AS, and these are basically for popping up terminals like this. Hello. Now these are genuine terminal emulators. They're not just your random thing. These are actually really good. Um, they have words. I won't lie. Uh, like that one. Okay. So if I have something written here to the right of my prompt, I guess it's confused. Hi. Okay. All right. So it's not bad. There are some words, a little bit of how to put it. Uh, your mileage may vary, basically, but really they're not that bad. Exit. So you have your options here. Space AS. Let me see. You have E for E shell, I for pop shell, M multi-term, T for ANSI term, and capital T for term. So basically, um, shell, what you get here, and space A is I for shell, space A is T for ANSI term, and space A is capital T for pop term, and space A is M for multi-term. Those are your basic choices for terminal emulators. I would recommend ANSI term or multi-term. They are best. Regular term is pretty good. Shell is pretty bad in my experience. eShell is not a terminal emulator, it's an actual shell. So if you want to run bash or set shell with your own customizations, don't use that one. If you want something that feels a little bit more together and maybe has fewer surprises, fewer bugs than the others, there's a good option there for you with eShell. I like to use eShell. So space A is E, that brings you the eShell. And it works more or less like like your regular shells. It's a bit different because it's based on Lisp, but you know, in my opinion, if you want a genuine set shell, you might as well launch a genuine terminal emulator as well. Um, Another thing this does is it gives you the space apostrophe binding for popping up your default shell, and there's a layer variable here called shell default shell that lets you determine basically what that should be. I don't know why I didn't see that earlier. Space. Where is it? Here, space apostrophe, open shell. Uh, did I skip that on purpose? I don't know. Let me put it down anyway. Uh, pop up shell. RS shells. Okay, great. Space A U. Undo tree visualize. Oh. Oh, this is really cool. Ah, I didn't know about this. This is nice. Okay, so let me try to show you what this is. So usually in Vim or other editors, undoing and redoing is a linear operation, right? It brings you back in time or forward in time. But typically what you have is a tree. So let me open a scratch buffer here and let me say I edit edit 1, edit 2, edit 3. Now I changed my mind, so I press U to undo again, and U to undo. So I do my new edit 1, my new edit 2, my new edit 3. And let's say I change my mind again. I'm in constant 1, I'm in constant 2, and so on. Now let's have a look here. Space AU. Now you see that I have a tree of editing states basically. So I have my original state, I have the 3 edits that I did previously or in the beginning, I have the 3 edits that I did second, and I have my 2 edits that I did just now, which you have here. And I can probably navigate this tree with K and J. I can go up and down. I can choose my subtree with L and H, and I can go down it using J and K again. So now you see I I get back my edits here. This is really cool. And I guess if I press Q here, yeah, it leaves me in this state. So if I press space AU again, it brings you back to this tree. Okay. But when I did it here, I got a... okay. Um, I seem to remember I had a second window here showing the diff for each edit. But I can't find it now. I'm not sure exactly what I did there. But anyway, this is pretty cool. I knew about this undo tree feature, but I'd never really bothered to find out what was up with it. But I'm happy I found it now. Undo tree visualize on space AU. So great. So those are my applications. If you add some more layers, I'm sure you'll find a few other applications. Some of these applications do require uh, some custom layers, which I have installed. I did my best to point those out to you when I noticed them. In particular, this deer, is not available to you unless you have Ranger, but you will get the red though if you don't have it. Emojis is not available unless you have the emoji layer. Games are not available unless you have the games layer. IRC will not be available unless you have ERC or RCIRC installed. There's nothing under M unless you have Spotify. There's nothing under O unless you have org. Ranger is not available unless you have Ranger. Shell's not available unless you have Shell. But the under tree and the package list and the processes and the calculator, they should be there by default. And I don't know what's up with this P though. Space A capital P. Yeah. Yeah, there's a bug there. I don't know. I'll have to figure it out. Now I see I've been running for 35 minutes already, just getting through A and all the other ones here. So this is gonna take a long time. I think this is a nice place to stop for now, and I'll be right back with B. See you then.